Talking prep, Springdale football. Zach Clark, kind enough to join us this morning. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, Blair.
Tough one last week. Of course, you expected it to be tough against Rogers, 37-27. The score maybe not an indicator of how close that ball game was, but you managed to come away with the victory. What pleased you most in that ball game?
Oh, I think we played very well defensively against a good offense. We knew Rogers was going to be a challenge. They're a lot better than the record, and they play a style that they're very aggressive on defense. Knew it was going to be, especially with the weather, it's going to be a tough night. They played very well, but they had two defensive scores. So really, defensively, our defense really only gave up 14 points. So that was encouraging. Felt like they played very well. And then obviously the pick six there with about 4 minutes to go, by Jawan Boyd it really put the nail in the coffin. But you're right. I mean, it was a battle.
As we take a look at the conference standings, the Bulldogs in third place in the 7A West at 3-1. You got Fayetteville coming up Friday night. They're 2-2. This is really a big game in terms of setting up the seeding for the playoffs.
Oh, you're right. I mean, this is huge. Big game, and it's fun. This used to be the premier rivalry, if not in the state, certainly, in the northwest part. It's been a while since the Battle of the Bulldogs has really meant something, and it's a huge game. I mean, you're right. It's the next one, but it's as far as playoffs, and seeding, I mean, this is a big one.
And two offensive teams that can put up some points on the board. What's going to be key for Springdale Friday night to prevail in this one on the road at Harmon Field?
Well, I think that happens because two outstanding quarterbacks going at it. You won't find a better matchup between two quarterbacks, and so with Grant and Darius, that I think it's going to come down to whichever team protects their quarterback the best, and we know we've got our work cut out for us. They're very good up front on the defensive line. Not terribly big, but they're very active, very athletic, and they play extremely hard.
You talk about Grant. He's passed for over 2,000 yards already this season. You've got the top rusher in the conference. Your offense has just been dynamite. Are you a little bit surprised at the success that you've had offensively?
Not really. I mean, our coaches, Bryant Davis and those guys have done a great job. But we knew going in that we, we've got good players and we've had outstanding quarterback play. Grant has not only has he played well, but he's really taken care of the ball. We've got playmakers with Brock Pounders and Martre Simon and Jaden Cornelius, then Connor Sykes. Those guys getting healthy really helped, and and then our running game with Garrett Vaughn and Daryl Parchman starting to take on more of a role. Feel like there's some balance. We need to get back to where we're running it effectively, and we're back to more of a balance, running passing game. But offensively, we knew that we were going to have the weapons to have a good offense, and I think at times we've been really good, and then at times we've failed to execute at the level that we would like.
What do you work on this point in the season? What's the kind of the priority in practice?
Well, I think practice isn't necessarily as long as it was early, but the great teams all have, late in the year, they kind of find a second gear where it's more intense. And, there seems to be a level of focus that, that is amped up a little bit later in the season. So if we're gonna really have a great year and make a run and really continue to get better, then we've got to bring a lot more focus and intensity to our practices. When really, you may change a few things from week to week, but basically, I mean, you know who you are. You know who you're going to play. Everybody's got an identity by this point in the season, and it's going to come down to execution.
Weather again could be a factor on Friday night. It's been a crazy weather-wise this season. How much of has the weather really had any impact, or is it just more on the fans in the stands trying to just survive every Friday night?
Oh, it always has an impact. Now, I felt like we handled the weather extremely well. Had 2 rain games earlier in the year, and then but last Friday night it was cold and wet. Had rained all day, so the field was wet. It was difficult keeping balls dry in pregame, and it was not ideal conditions. And another chance of rain. The thing is, both teams have to play in the same elements on the same field. So I think we've handled it well. Not too worried about the weather one way or another.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate the time, and good luck on Friday night.
You bet. Thanks, Blair.